Let me tell you, history is a lot more fun when you don't have a test waiting for you at the end of the semester. History is actually just a lot of gossip when you don't have to worry about taking AP histories, DBQs at the end when you got to write about the Pope or something. It's way more fun when you just get to talk about the fun, juicy stuff. So I have a segment called Ye Olde Gossip where I get to talk about the juiciest and most salacious stories from history. And it doesn't get any juicier or more salacious than Casanova. Because turns out he was a real man. I thought this was just like a fictional character. You know what I mean? Like Moby Dick or something. Like you know what I mean? Like he's just like he's just like a figure of speech. Like if you want to call someone kind of like, a schmoozer, you just call him a Casanova. Turns out this man was real and kind of the original F-boy. So we're talking about the man, the myth, the walking venereal disease that was Giacomo Casanova. So
what's his name again?
Giacomo Casanova. He was Italian. So I want you to picture the most heinous man you have ever dated. Now, give him a powdered wig, a stack of romantic poetry. That's Casanova. Like all good lovers, he was tall, dark, and emotionally unavailable. So this man was born in Venice in 1725, and he came out the womb like, hi, I'm here to make questionable choices and destroy lives. He was born to his mom, who was an actress, which is the 1700s version of that Instagram model you follow with a suspicious source of income. And his dad, we don't really know, but it is pretty on brand that his dad would have hit it and quit it. Casanova hit the ground running pretty early the moment he hit puberty. He had so much sensual energy that at 11 years old, he had to be sent to a seminary to become a priest.
Bro.
And then he got kicked out for being too scandalous, aka flirting with the clergy. Now, when he became an adult, if being a walking heartthrob could pay the bills, Casanova would have been rolling in it. But unfortunately, OnlyFans and being an ex-Bachelor contestant wasn't an option in those days, so he decided to try out literally every job and be terrible at all of them. He was like, you know what? I don't need a good job. I'll just collect vibes, STDs, and hair gel. He was a violinist, a soldier, a magician, a spy, a librarian, and at one point, a lottery supervisor, to which all the people in line to buy scratch-offs from him thought, who is the supervisor? Because if this guy's my cashier, I just won the lottery, hey. And when he wasn't selling scratch-offs at the 18th century 7-Eleven, he was giving scratch-offs for free in the bedroom. This man was getting so much attention. Was getting so much action, he wrote a 12-volume memoir called The Story of My Life, in which the story was just him banging a lot of people across Europe. It would have been titled How I Gaslit, Gatekept, and Girl-Bossed My Way All Across Europe. Remember the whole kicked out of seminary thing? Casanova decided to enact his revenge on the church by sleeping with not one, but 2 nuns at the same time.
What?
When they talked about the Holy Trinity in the Bible, I don't think that's what Jesus had in mind.
Bro, right. Hey.
How do you seduce a nun?
It's impressive.
He was literally Casanova.
He had better game than Jesus.
Nobody had better game than
Let's stop this right now.
Sorry.
Obviously, a man with this many affairs had to be very open-minded behind closed doors. And one of his rendezvous actually included sleeping with a woman who was disguised as a man who was, in fact, having her own affair with another woman who was disguised as a man. There was a lot of drama involved in his love life. I mean, if Tinder existed in 1745, his profile would have just said, DTF, literally anyone. Eventually, the Catholic Church was like, okay, this man has got to go. And we know what bishops are doing. They're like, we know what bishops are doing, but we draw the line at conventionally attractive men having consensual sex. So they put him in handcuffs, and not the fun kind, for immorality and impiety. And they threw him in this horrifying prison called the Leads, which I know kind of sounds like a spa a millennial would launch in your local shopping district, but that is not the kind of place you want to be. Casanova was not going to let a dank cell with some bars stop him from getting some. In a full circle moment, he escapes prison dressed as a monk with a priest. And then he just kept living his life. He went on to write poems, scam the aristocracy, fight in duels, and just in general be a little chaos goblin. Despite his escapades, somehow he was always invited to hang out, kind of like Herpes, but if Herpes had incredible hair and BDE. And as Casanova got older, you'd think biology would take over and this man would just keep his pants on for more than an hour. But he spent his golden years working as the inspiration for millions of people's Halloween costumes for years to come. a sexy librarian. And even then, he still made time for romantic entanglements and stirring the pot like he's Chef Boyardee. Needless to say, this man didn't just exist. He drank up life like champagne, kissed it on the mouth, ran away with it for the weekend, declared passionate love, and then probably stole its wallet. The moral of the story is, if you're sexy enough, you don't need a real job. All you have to do is avoid any responsibilities, fight for your right to get laid, and you still die a legend.
You all want to see what Casanova looked like back in the day?
Yep.
That's
Casanova.
that's him.
He's got good cheekbones.
Okay.
Wow.
I don't really know what I expected.
I don't know what I expected either.
All right.
But, however, there's a movie, Casanova, played by Heath Ledger. That I can get on board with.
Okay.
Well, it sounds like it's a huge miscast.
Yeah.
Based on his picture right there.
The Bert Show.